All right, guys, I got a brand new update for you guys. This is the same sheet that we went over that has all the stats of all the characters in the game, but we added so much more. There's so much to unpack here. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. This is where we're going to go over our new document, the version 2, if you may say. So let's go ahead and get right in. So the defense and the let's say the attack difference and the defense difference are the same thing you're used to. So if you paid attention to the last document, that is the exact same information. It doesn't change because it's just stats and numbers. All those were right. So now we're just showing you more and different ways of showing you the same information, just from different perspectives. So, for example, zero difference means you do 2,581 damage and our denominator was a Dragon Ball Super base form Goku. So, this Goku right here was used in all the tests. So, therefore, right here, this character is the exact same attack power as a Goku. So if Dragon Ball Super Goku hits you, or this character hits you 5 times or one full rush string, then you will do 2,581 damage. Now the inverse to this is damage taken. So if Goku from Dragon Ball Super does a rush string to you, you would take 2,581 damage, which is zero difference from him. Or if you took, for example, 2,839 damage, that means you took more damage. So that means you have negative defense. And then if you took less damage, like Radiate Vegeta here, where he only takes 1,718 damage, he actually has a defense higher. Now, the percentages is just the percentage of the difference. For example, this is going to be super, super quick. I'm not going to try to do too many math equations in the beginning. I want to kind of brush over this so that way everyone can, even if you're not a math expert, you're going to be able to read everything. But essentially, what we would do is we would take, let's see, 2581, and if you multiply it by 1.1616 equals, then you get the number right here, 2,998, because this is a 16% buff to 2,581. So he has a 16% buff to our denominator. That is how that works. And the inverse works for your percentage of your defense. Now we uploaded all, or we updated, I'm sorry, we updated all the health of all the characters. So now instead of them being rounded from, from up or down a bar, which it was always rounded up. So for example, Beerus, he was, in the last one, it says he had 50,000 health. Well, in this one, it's more accurate because it identifies that he only has half a health bar, not a full, so he has 45,000 health. So and those little changes also will change the stat sheet for the stat tier list, which we'll do another one of those. That way we know now that it's extreme. This document is extremely accurate, guys. We're going to go over the math later if you want, but there's some really cool stuff to take away that doesn't take any math. You could just look at this document and be able to tell. So stay tuned, even if you're not good at math, like just stay tuned for this. So then we take this formula right here, which this took a lot of time to figure out, but so I is your health, F is your defense. So it's your health divided by your defense multiplied by your character, your denominator, which is 2,581. This tells you the effective health. So since this character has zero defense and there's zero difference, his effective health is the same. But there's no percentage gain for his health. But this character has a 3.12 percentage gain, which I think I might have to redo these. Is it? No, it should be right. Okay. Yeah. So this is a 3.12 percentage gain over this, or I'm sorry, over this to equal this. Meaning that if Goku was to hit this character, he would have to do another 1,247 damage in order to kill that character. So because of the difference here. So now and this goes all the way down. Like I said, so for health, green is good and red is bad. For defense and offense, blue is good and red is bad. Red is just typically bad. I mean, we just kept that the same. So if it's red, it's not good. Yeah. Key blast damage. This is how much one key blast does to a Goku. Notice that Goku Mini doesn't have key blast. He kind of does a gut strike, so we just put it at 0. So he still has a feature for that button. It's just not a key blast. Then as for the attack plus active health or effective health, this is the overall stat. So this, from the last one, we used to do the health bonus, which was 10,000. Your health bar, which is 10,000. So if you had an additional health bar, and each health bar is 10,000, you would have 10,000 more health. For it, you can actually see that here. So this character has 40,000 health. This character has 50,000 health because he has an extra health bar. So therefore, your health difference is 10,000. You would divide it by, 20. If you divide if you divide 4 health bars, which is a normal character, if you divide 40,000 by 2581, it equals 15.5. So it takes 15.5 combos in order to kill a regular average character. That being said, if you have this one right here with 50,000 health, then you wouldn't be able to kill it because you wouldn't do enough damage. So we would take the 15.5 and we would divide it into 10,000, and it would come up with 645, which is our bonus number, and that would be our health bonus. And what we would do is we would take attack power, your attack difference, right? You would take your attack difference and your defense difference, you would add them together, add them into the health bonus, and then it would come out with this number, but it wasn't as accurate as it is now. So because now we have effective health that is calculated in a much better way, and we'll go over and do all the equations at the end. I don't want to get too crazy with the math right now because I know a lot of people aren't interested in a math lesson. But if you are, then at the end of the video, we're going to break down all the calculations, and so that way you can watch me walk through how to do it, and then we're going to show the actual result in game to figure out the accuracy of that. So attack plus effective health this is essentially their overall stat, right? Like this is how good this character is. So Ultra Instinct Goku being 75,000, that's insane. That's really good. Now what we did is, and don't think about this as effective health because it's not. This is just like a huge stat that allows us to see how good a character is whenever you include attack, defense, and health. So this is the overall how good a character is stat, essentially. Now what we did is we took this and we divided it by the DP count. So now, and this is not red, it's pink. So, the darker the pink, I guess, the better they are. So, for example, this one is probably a big character. This is Master Roshi because he's so strong. So you see, like when we did the DP tier list, that's why these characters were so high up, and people were like, oh well, that character's not that good because they don't have whatever. But it's like now you see the actual numbers, and this character has 2 times the stats of the character before it. Like the base form Master Roshi has half of the stats that max power does. And the only thing that really gets him is the afterimage strike, because that's a lot of stats to overcome. Same thing, look here. So this is Nappa, this is Raccoon. These are crazy good characters. Dodoria, Super Zarbon, not too big of a fan of Super Zarbon, but he's still really good for that. You have Wheelo, you have Giant Form Lord Slug, you have Omega Shenron GT. No, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. That was one. that was the one above it. That is not the Spopovich. Spopovich is incredible. So that's where you get those. And we're gonna go over a new DP tier list too, guys, because we've learned so much from doing tests and everything as well. So we got just so much more. Speaking of, so the DP number, right? That's cool. But here is the switch times, right? So for example, your switch timer changes depending on what DP the character is. So like a 1, right, is 5 seconds. So if you're playing Hercule, he has to be in the game for 5 seconds, and then he could switch out, right? So this character is a 3 DP, so he's 15 seconds. If it was 4, it's 19 seconds. 5 is 23 seconds. 6 is 27 seconds. But all you don't have to memorize it because it's all right here. Any character you play, it tells you. So the higher your DP number is, so for this one it's 10, that's 43 seconds they have to wait before they can switch out. So like it just takes longer the higher DP. Now we have giants, right? So there's a check mark for giants. So if it's a giant character, it will have a check mark on it. And then we have auto key charge, and what this means is that if you just stand there and do nothing, your key will increase until you're full of health bars. This is mainly for androids, right? Like for Android 16, 17, 18. Those characters, I think there's like 8 total. That have the auto key charge ability. Now, the absorb key charge is completely different. This is specifically for Giro and Android 19. These characters work differently. So they do not auto key charge. So their key does not gradually go up at all. They also do not how can I say this? Like they cannot charge key either. So they can't charge, they don't auto charge either. So what they do is they absorb the key that someone shoots at them. So if you use perception, right? Then and someone throws key at you, you'll actually absorb the key and then it will go into your key bar. Or if they shoot a Kamehameha like a beam at you, you can absorb the Kamehameha and get that key. So that's how they get key. However, there's a secondary way that they get key as well. So if they hit a character, they actually get 2 times the amount of key back from each hit that another character would. And we might have a breakdown for like that later for how much key a character has. I know we're going to break this down probably later today or tomorrow, and different characters start with different amount of key, and we're going to add some stats like that to this document. So this document is expanding. However, now we got the stats like really spot on. Like it's really hard to get any closer to the stats, which the next level is we're going to start adding the raw numbers from the code of the game. That's our next move for this document to make it just that much better. That's another thing that we added is that I think is really neat is this ID number. So this ID number, if you come into this document, right, and you need to, so for the people that are not Excel or Google Sheets professionals, you can hit Control F, and then you can find anything that you need. So that's a really simple thing. Another thing you could do is you could click on, let's say, this column right here, and then you could go to Data, and then you could sort sheet by Z to A, right? And then if you do that, the strongest character in the games are at the top. So Analaza, Great Baby, all the big characters. And then whenever you exclude the big characters, you see Gogeta Super Saiyan 4. So then Topo, God of Destruction, Ultra Instinct Goku. So like that right there is the order of the strongest characters in the game. However, what if you don't want to view it this way and you want it to go back to normal? Well, you can do this drop down right here, and then you can data sort sheet, and then you could go A to Z this time. And then it's going to put everything back the way it was to where this is the same order that it is displayed in the game. So you can do it. It's just a way to put it back to the way the game defaults it as. And yeah, so that's we added the IDs. I think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, so let's go down here and I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong document. And by the way, we're given the editor. So editor Yoon, Baked Alaska, Get a 92 actually helped us, even though it was indirectly. He doesn't have editing privileges to this. But that being said, we took some of the data from Get a 92 as well because he's been helping us in the background. So he's absolutely in here. Ari Star is absolutely in here. And then, of course, me and Treants as well. So these are the only people that have helped on this document. If anyone else says that they helped, then they are lying. We had one guy that Sparking News shouted out for our last document, and he took credit saying that, or Sparking News gave him credit saying that, oh well, this person made this this document. No, he didn't. He had absolutely nothing to do with our document, and it really upsets us that someone else is taking credit, even though the guy made a video giving credit to Treants. Well, okay, that's cool and all, but the the post with 1 million views gave the other guy all the credit. So really, what people actually saw in mass gave him the credit for our work, which I distaste that. I do all this work for you guys, and the only thing that I ask is to give the credit to the people that actually put in the work. That's really all I ask. And we have so many great things for you guys in store, but it really hurts because now someone else is getting big off of our work just by stealing it essentially. And I really it really puts a distaste in our mouth, especially when we put so much hard work into getting this out to you guys. Anyways, I want to digress about that. Let's go over the math for this sheet. Okay, so now we're going to get into some numbers. So we have so this is how much hit actually does to Beerus, right? So like if he hits Beerus in the game and does a 5-hit combo, like without any math included, I just went into the training mode, I hit Beerus 5 times, is 2,797. So now I'm going to take our old data sheet. So this is our old data sheet. Now you didn't have the attack and defense, but we're not really going to be using that. We're going to be using this right here for the most part. This never changed. It's the same numbers. It's just this added to 2581 because that's how we got it. So this is going to be an easier document to go over. For example, so like he has a health bonus, Beerus, of 645, which just isn't true. Actually, now that I think about it, what we could do is I want to try this in 2 different ways. But regardless, what we can do is let's figure out how hard the hit's damage does to Beerus the old method. So the old method, we would take his damage and we would subtract the defense from this character, and then we would so then that would give us the difference, right? And then, well, let's see, 609 is how much attack left over hit does, and then we would add that to the 2581. So we would take this number right here and we would add it to 2581, and then we would come up with this number right here. Now that right there is not like it's a number, but look how far off it is from this. Like the deviation is almost 400 points, and so I didn't like how inaccurate it was for that. So let's go over the new way of figuring this out, which this is going to be slightly harder, but a lot of this work is already done for you guys, but I just want you guys to understand exactly how we got it, right? So first off, we need to find effective health for the character. So in this character, we're talking Beerus. Right, so we're going to take our, first off, we're going to do, make a parentheses, so this action will happen first. So we're going to take this, we're going to divide it by their defense, right? And then we're going to, in parentheses, multiply this by, and then we'll have 2581. So essentially, it's going to figure out how many combos it takes for a character doing 2207 to do into 45, right? So if we hit enter, so it's going to take, well, first off, okay, so because it's doing so many things at once because I did that. Let me break this down more so that way I can explain it better. So what I was trying to say is if you take this and you divide it by this is step 1. So this is how many combos it takes for a person doing this much damage to a person with this much health. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out, okay, well, what is the defense difference here? So the defense, so if this takes that many combos to do 45,000 damage, we can figure out the defense difference, which is going to be this multiplied by this. So now it's 52,625. So essentially you saved this right here. So I'm sorry. So you saved this, subtract this. So you saved 7,626 damage with your defense. So that's essentially what we're figuring out, right? Like that's how we figure out the effective health number. And now we're going to go over, let's go. I'm sorry if this is confusing to you guys. That's why I saved it to the end of the video. This is more for the math nerds. Um, Let me see if I can just reiterate real quick what we did. So we took the number, right, that the character does after the defense has been applied, so Goku, right? Um, and we divided it into the normal health. So these numbers are going to be the same as this number is to this, because this into because instead of the defense being applied to the attack power, which is right here, that's why it went from 2581 to 2207. So instead of it being applied here, we're taking the defense and we're converting it into addition to the health. So so essentially what we did is we put the defense in, instead of it being applied to the attack power, now it's applied to the health. So the health went from here to here. And this is very beneficial because now we can apply this health to any character. So now that's what we need to do. So and so the way we did that, we divided this into this to get 20.3. So this has to do 20.3 combos in order to kill this character. Then we take 20.3 and we multiply it by the normal attack. So if they did the same amount of hits and did this much damage, then it would take this much health to withstand that, which is your defense difference. So your defense difference right here, 7,626, is the difference between these two numbers. So, okay, now let's get to what if we want to apply it to a different character. Let's say Hip, for example. We can actually, this is actually a really easy one, where we just take the effective health and we divide it by the attack power of that character, and then we will get 16.1. So this is how many combos Hit needs to do in order to in order to kill the character with 5,226. So then we would have to do yet again another equation, which you could put this all into one equation. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'm just trying to break it down so y'all understand each individual action that's going on. So you would take the health here, and then you would divide it by this number right here, and it gives you 2,801. Now look at this. First off, these numbers are rounded, right? Like these numbers don't have the 0.06251 whatever at the end of it. These numbers right here, these attack numbers, the defense numbers, they're all rounded to the whole number. So it's going to have some deviations, right? Like there's going to be some margin of error. But if what we said up here, like 2797, right? This is the amount, and now our new number is 2801. Look how close these two are. I mean, obviously I don't need to do the math on this one, but I'm just showing you guys. So it's 4. The difference is 4. Now this one up here, for example, if we do 2797, enter, and 3190, enter, and we do equals, and we'll say this, subtracted by this, enter. So we have a 394 point difference and a 4 difference. So like the accuracy of the new way that we're doing it is exponentially higher. And really where we get the extra 4 points is a few reasons. So there's a combo multiplier that we're looking into, and we're really trying to get understand it to the highest detail. So that has something to do with the discrepancy, but also the fact that none of the numbers have their decimal points in them. That also has to do with the discrepancy. Like for example, look at this number right here, the 389666923, right? All these numbers are whole numbers. They don't add all these numbers in. So we round them up by doing this right here. We just round it up, and now it's 20.4. Which I mean is fairly close, but I'm saying when you multiply them by the thousands, you end up with a few different digits at the end. So now, if you do this equation, then you will get this number, which is very close. And now let's figure out, so how to do, can we do this equation into one cell? So let's say if we wanted to figure out this number, but we only wanted to do one equation, that's it, right? So essentially you could do equals, and then I would just do parentheses, and you could do 45. Well, there's no reason to do that because it's all effective health is already solved for you. So you would take this, you would divide it by the this number right here, close parentheses. So it's going to complete that action first, right? So the next step is, so that's going to give us the answer 16.1. You can see right here, 16.1. Yeah, which is the same as our 16.1 up here. So now what we need to do is we need to take the answer to that, and we're going to divide it by 45,000. So we actually need to come back at the front here, and we're going to do 45,000 and divide by the answer to that problem, and it comes out to 2801.3. And just like that, we got our answer with one formula, and you can see that formula right up here. So 45,000 divided by, and then parentheses, effective health versus this. Now the 45,000 I got from the standard health, because we need to, so what we did is we took the difference and we put it on the health side, and now we're transferring it back to the attack side to figure out how much attack. Now, do you need to know the 2801? No, you don't. I mean, the 16.1 also tells you a story, right? 16.1 means they have to do 16.1 combos to kill you. So the higher that 16.1 goes, if it's 17, 18, 19, 20, well, then that means that your defense is higher and their offense is lower. So the better they are. Now, the lower it goes, the better their offense and the lower your defense. So, I mean, the 16.1 tells you pretty much everything you need to know. But if you want to know about how much damage they're going to do to you with a 5-hit or a full rush string, then that is the equation that you would need to do right here. So you would take the health and you would divide it into the effective health divided by their attack, and then you would figure that out, and then it would come out with 2801, which is only 4 difference away from our actual number in game. So yeah, guys, that essentially is the new stat sheet that we have. Like I said, we're looking at the game codes, so that way we can figure out more precise information, so that way we can just get you guys as much information as possible. I don't think the information on this chart will change very much. This chart is extremely accurate, and yeah, and I will also be doing a breakdown. Actually, why don't we take a look real quick where we go file, open, and see if we can open some more sheets real quick. We have another sheet, and the link should be in the description. This is the items, right? So you can search an item, just say warming up, for example, and gains 25% more health when switching out. So like stuff like that, you know, like normal time is 1 health bar per 60 seconds. With this item, you will get 1.25 health bars in 60 seconds. So that's really good. But the thing about this document is it literally breaks down every single item in the entire game. So if you guys would like to see this spreadsheet, then by all means, the link is in the description. And we'll be doing a video probably on breaking down every item, so that way if you're not much of a reader, you can just listen to me talk and ramble on about it. So some other stuff is, let's see, I want to go over supers and skills in a second, but we have rush chains and blast. So if I look at rush chains and blast, we actually upgraded this a lot, by the way. So this is our this right here is such a beautiful document. It takes let's say the character, and it tells you their smash, or I'm sorry, not smash, I gotta get away from rage and blast 1 terms, their rush chain. So rush chain 1, they do the heavy finish, it's like the gut punch, right? Rush chain 2 is the rolling hammer, which is, these are the names that are in the game, but essentially it's where it turns your opponent around. Then blaster wave, rolling hammer again, right? We're also going to create a video explaining this sheet as well. So the next thing is, it'll show you their skills, it'll show you their blast, so on and so forth. Um, it also, if you scroll over here, I think this is really cool. Do they have a paralyzed charge key blast? It shows you that. Sparking the high speed mode. So essentially what that is if you're in sparking and you're just moving around normally and you hit guard, it'll teleport you somewhere. And then, so that way, that's how that works. And then if you're sparking super speed, right, which is the next column, then if you're dragon dashing and you hit guard, it'll like zip you different places. So only certain characters can do these. So that's why it tells you yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no, stuff. And we color code this every other color, so that way it's easier for you to find a character and come over here and find it. Because when it was all white, it was like really hard. Then what I'm super excited about is our code system. So essentially we have vague codes and specific codes. Now, let's say vague codes, right? Like, so if you like wild sense, well then a vague code would say wild sense. I'm sorry. The vague code, the way it's going to work with wild sense is it's going to combine wild sense, after image, and after image strike into one code. So it's going to say, for any character with any of these teleporting things, that's what that will be. Then if you want to look for wild sense specifically, then it's going to have a specific code, and after image strike will have a specific code, and so that those will have specific codes. Now, same thing let's take a different example, like explosive wave, right? So explosive wave will have a vague code where it's like any character with the effect of explosive wave. Like, for example, Tapion has a hero's flute. Bardock, I can't remember the name of his, which, I mean, we're on the right sheet to know. So, I mean, we can search Bardock and we can go to Shockwave Rebellion is the name of it. So Shockwave of Rebellion is also an explosive wave. However, look, its name is not explosive wave. So if I hit Control Find and I type in explosive wave, it's going to come up with all the characters with explosive wave. That being said, it's not going to come up with Shockwave of Rebellion. It's not going to come up with Hero's Flute, which is essentially explosive wave, but with a different name. So that's where the code system comes in, because vague codes are going to have all the explosive waves in the game, all the instance sparkings in the game. So that way you could just type in this code, and then it will tell you exactly what the code means. So that we'll have a video on that. But it's really, really cool, because that what it does is it looks at the effect of the attack, and it matches you with all the attacks with the same effect, regardless of what their names are. So that's so big, guys. Like, that's just it's gonna be great. And then we're also working on this new sheet as well. Now these have public access. The one I'm about to show you has no public access, but I don't mind showing you guys if you guys are watching this video to the end here. So let's go over here. So this one, nobody has public access to this. This is editors only for our editing team at Kame House, which if you want to become an editor, please let me know. Join the Discord, let me know. We need more editors, because you're about to see why. Like, I mean, if you look at this document, it is massive. Like, we can scroll down for so long, and it's so big. Like, it's just ridiculous. So let's just take one of these. Perfect Barrier, right? It is a ultimate blast. It is an explosive wave. It is unblockable. No, so it's not unblockable, and it doesn't have a charge or a boost, and its cost is 5 key bars, which is it's an ultimate, so that's why all ultimates are 5 key costs. So that makes sense. So it is an ultimate. But look at this, like, where it tells you, is it boostable, is it chargeable, is it blockable, what type of it is it, and then how much does it cost. And whenever we get up to the skills, for example, let's go up here. So you can see, like, whenever these are all filled in, it tells you servant's latent powers, self buff, debuff, and then it'll tell you, like, it costs 1. and it says self buff plus debuff because this right here, key charging buff, is -1, blast buff 0, key blast buff 3, defense buff 1, melee buff 3. So like it's going to tell you, all this fantastic information about these super skills, and then over here you'll see vague codes, specific codes, and we're going to break that down, which will relate to the other document we were on earlier. So you could just hit Control F and then find whatever, like let's say we want explosive wave, explosive wave. Yep. So we found explosive wave, and then we can, just scroll over and find the specific or the vague code. Now, specifically would be if it, like, for example, we went over Bardoc's explosive wave. His explosive wave puts him in sparking mode. So the specific code for him would be any explosive wave that puts them in sparking. The vague code would be any explosive wave, period. So that's where the two codes will differ. Certain characters, I'm pretty sure that he's the only character that can do that, but we're definitely going to find out soon. So there's that. Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's about all I got for you for this one. So I hope this really helps you guys out with this document right here. I know we we brushed over the other documents a little bit. I hope you guys are excited to see what we have in store for that. And this document as well, we're still updating and adding more lines of information to it. I know we want to add a few more, like how much key do they get per hit. We're going to add that. We're going to add how much key do they start the game with. We're going to add that. And we're trying to get as much information on here as possible, but at the same time we don't want to overwhelm you guys, so that's why we have different sheets. We're going to make everything go into a workbook, so that way we're going to just send people the workbook link, and then you can choose the sheet that you want to look at, so that way it's easier to switch between each one, so that way you don't have to have an individual link for each one. So we have that coming too. So yeah, guys, we're just constantly working hard, trying to make sure that the Sparking Zero game is as transparent as possible. If you guys are wondering about Yajirobe, by the way, his new stats have been updated into this document, so you don't have to worry about that. This document is up to date post patch. So yeah, and I really appreciate everybody for watching. Sorry this is such a long video, but I guess I will see you guys in the next one.